Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 76 of the Membership Guys podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison. This is the show where we talk proven practical tips and advice for growing a successful membership website. Now, as this episode is coming out, Christmas is just around the corner, and I thought what better time to talk about the importance of taking time away from your membership site. I remember several years ago when I was still working one-on-one with clients. This was before Callie and I started working together. I was at a point where I hadn't actually had a holiday at all for about 8 years since first going self-employed. And I was working crazy hours, burning myself out, and Callie convinced me that we needed to take a holiday. I took a lot of convincing, but I finally agreed to it. And I remember in the months building up to us going away for this first holiday I'd had for the best part of a decade, I was running myself ragged. I was going crazy, putting all sorts of stuff in place to handle my workload while I was away. I got 2 or 3 other online marketers, web developers, you name it, all lined up just in case something went wrong or a client needed me while I was away. I was going to be away for 3 weeks. I'd never spent more than 2 or 3 days away from my business. So I had redundancy after redundancy in place. I set up emergency support emails. I hired VAs to answer my phones and to deal with any sort of inquiries, any sort of problems. I was going to be in the US, so we had the time difference there. So I made sure I had every single base covered. And then the time finally come. I went away on holiday with all this stuff in place, and not one single email came in. Not one single call to the support desk that I'd set up. Not one single message to the 2 emergency backup web development teams that I had in place. Nothing happened. Nobody cared. The world didn't end. Nobody really noticed. And this wasn't because I didn't have good relationships with clients or I didn't have a particularly big workload or anything like that. I did. It was just that the world doesn't stop turning just because you decide to take time away from your business. We all like to convince ourselves that it does. After all, it makes us feel special. It makes us feel important. If nobody cares that we take 2 weeks away, then clearly I'm not as amazing as I think I am. And I often see people running membership sites falling into that same trap, thinking that if they step away, if they take a little bit of time out, then everything is going to implode. That their membership site cannot possibly survive them deciding to go away on holiday for a few days or deciding to take a little break from the day-to-day running of the membership. People feel like they need to be available, they need to be accessible on their communities, answering emails, creating content, you name it. It's easy to fall into that trap, suffering from what Chris Ducker calls superhero syndrome, where you think you have to be around to do all the things to save the day constantly, to handle every situation at the drop of a hat. And while there's certainly nothing wrong with making yourself accessible, it is important to not only set boundaries between you and your members, but also to set boundaries between you and your membership site. Because if your membership relies on you being personally available 24/7, or you feel like it is, and you're just becoming your own worst enemy, then you're not getting the most from the membership model. One of the best things about the membership model is that it's one of the most highly leveraged ways of doing business online. The time you put in generates a far greater outcome in terms of the value you create, in terms of growing your asset, than if you were working with people one-on-one. And as a result, your membership can deliver value without you being there. You not being around and being instantly available for your membership doesn't suddenly mean that your courses aren't as valuable. It doesn't mean that the community and the interaction relationships that your members have amongst themselves suddenly dissipate because you're not there to keep an eye on it all. And while of course it is important for you to show up and serve your community and to be accessible within your membership, nobody expects you to be around all of the time. And if they do, it's simply a case of setting those boundaries with your members and managing their expectations, and that's something we've talked about several times on previous podcasts. And if you personally feel that not being able to be around all of the time is detrimental to your members, keep this in mind. It's not in your members' interests if you burn yourself out, or if you end up so overwhelmed by having to make yourself available 24/7 and having to always be on, that you end up resenting your membership. That you're churning out content purely to satisfy some sort of arbitrary routine or arbitrary expectation that you've set for yourselves. Nobody benefits from that. You burn out, your members end up getting worse content and lower quality interactions with you as a result, because you're just making yourself ill. You're running yourself into the ground, trying to do too much. And don't get me wrong, great membership websites take a lot of hard work, but it's hard work on your terms. You get to control the rules, you get to set the expectations, you get to manage the boundaries. It has to work for you as well as work for your members. And if you're not able to take time away for your membership, then it's clearly not working for you. And it's a situation that you need to remedy ASAP. And the truth is, when you have prolific entrepreneurs out there talking about how important it is to hustle round the clock, to always be available, to get up before everybody else gets up, to go to bed after everybody else goes to bed, and to be working non-stop, then it's easy to see why people fall into this trap of just overburdening themselves. And in some circles, it's almost seen as a badge of honor to never take any time off, or to be working on Christmas Day, almost as though doing so makes you better or makes you more likely to be successful than somebody who isn't. But it just doesn't work like that. There's a big difference between working long, working hard, and working smart. You need to work smart, and that means running a business that doesn't rely on you showing up 24/7. Being able to get distance from the day-to-day, to dedicate time every week to working on your membership business and not just working in, grinding out content, answering forum posts, dealing with customer support. And you need to make sure that you are regularly taking a complete break from your membership, where you're not checking your emails, you're not responding to forum posts, you're not creating content, thinking about your membership, planning out marketing. Take the time out for you to make sure that you're not burning yourself out, and that you're also not setting a ridiculous precedent within your membership for you being around 24/7, because that's just going to get you into a vicious cycle that can be very difficult to escape from. So if any of this applies to you, if you find it really difficult to take time away from your membership or away from whatever business you're running, whether you are still in the planning and creating stages of your membership and maybe you're still dealing with clients on a one-on-one basis, maybe you're working a full-time job and building your membership as a side project, whatever you're doing, make sure that you're applying what we're talking about here, that you're taking time to work on as well as in your business, that you're managing expectations of your members and of yourself and the pressure you put on yourself, that you're setting boundaries for your membership, and that you're taking a complete break on a regular basis where you're not thinking about your membership, you're not dealing with the day-to-day, you're taking that time just for yourself to refresh and to enjoy the fruits of your labor, because ultimately that's what we're doing this all for. So it all starts with Christmas. If you had plans of working up until midnight on Christmas Eve, or if you've told your family you won't be able to see them this Christmas because your head will be buried in your laptop and you need to be around for your members, then this year it needs to change. So make sure you're taking time out this Christmas. Trust me, you'll thank me for it. That's it from me for another episode of the Membership Guys podcast. Whether you're celebrating Christmas with a big C or a little c, whether you're celebrating Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or not celebrating at all, whatever you're doing, I hope you have fun doing it. Next week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at some of the highlights from the top 10 most popular episodes of 2016 here on the Membership Guys podcast. So keep an eye out for that. And we've already got some great plans lined up for the show in 2017. Lots of good stuff to come. Thank you so much for choosing to spend a little bit of your day with me. Enjoy the holidays, and I'll be back again very soon with another episode of the Membership Guys podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Membersite Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Member Site Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Member Site Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.